Good morning. Today we are going to read London by William Blake. This poem is also from the anthology Songs of Experience. It is a description of urban space as the name suggests. It describes the unhappiness and the poverty of the city. I'll read the poem first. Look for the distinct images. London by William Blake. I wandered through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weakness, marks of woe. In every cry of every man, in every infant cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, the mind forged manacles I hear. How the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlots curse, blast the newborn infant's tear, and blights with plague the marriages. The poet describes the city of London. See, this city can be any city, any metropolitan city. I wandered through each chartered street. Describing his personal feelings, he says that as he wandered through the streets, through the chartered streets here will be streets permitted by law, legally permissible ones. But there is a contrast between what is permitted, that is, which signifies freedom, and actual personal freedom, freedom of the mind. Though the poet later changed the word chartered to dirty, okay, but here we have it as chartered before us. So we are going to interpret the word as chartered. I wandered through each chartered street near where the chartered Thames does flow. You see, the streets are open to all. Thames flows freely, but there is a contrast. And mark in every face I meet marks of weakness and marks of woe. Whoever he meets is sad. There is a picture of weakness, there's a picture of grief in every face that he sees. In every cry of every man, in every infant cry of fear, in every voice and every band, the mind forged manacles I hear. In contrast to the freedom of the streets and the flow of the river, he sees that common man is given into weeping, given into grief. He is sad. He is fearful. Even the infant is crying out of fear. That is, there is something which is coming in the way of individual freedom. There were restricted laws. If you go into the history of England at that time, there were laws restricting one's freedom. In every voice, in every band, the mind forged manacles I hear. He can hear some impediments which are forged, which are mind forged. There are foundations, there are clutches out of which one cannot come out of. How the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church falls, and hapless soldiers sigh, runs in blood down palace walls. In the next two stanzas, Blake describes the condition of the chimney sweepers, of the soldiers, and of the harlots or the prostitutes. These are the deprived sections of society to which he points out. He says that he finds common man in distress, but these three kinds of people, these three classes of people are particularly neglected by the government, by the state, and he is really sad about the condition of these three kind of people. The chimney sweepers, if you go deep into the history of England, you'll also find out in Lamb's essay on chimney sweepers that the condition of the chimney sweepers was pathetic. Children from the age of 5 to 12 were employed as chimney sweepers. They had those large chimneys in the houses and the industries, and the cleaning had to be done by the children. They were underpaid and they were exploited. So this came out as into the notice of the people, and they took it upon themselves to point out the fact that this was a very wrong thing going on in society. He says that the chimney sweepers cry, even the blackening church appalls. Even the church walls, that is, the churches also have those chimneys, and they also give consent. They also do not take into consideration the condition of these chimney sweepers. And the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. There are soldiers who die fighting for their country when they go in front, but then there are soldiers who come back injured for life. Their condition is also not considered by the state, by the palace walls, that means by the state. Their blood runs down the palace walls means nobody pays heed to the condition of the dead soldiers, of the families of the dead soldiers, or of the dead soldiers who have been gravely injured in these wars. Then he moves on to the third class of society, that is the harlots. But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlots curse, blast the newborn infant's tear, and blights with plague the marriage hearse. Why does he point out this particular section of society? He says that he can hear the cries of the harlots, the youthful harlots who curse society, who curse the newborn infants, who curse the institution of marriage. They even curse that plague may affect the marriage hearse. Marriage is a respectable institution, but then these harlots are the result of failed marriages or of those who are not respectful towards the institution of marriage. So they curse this institution. The condition of the harlots or the prostitutes is very is much of concern for the society, but nobody seems to pay any attention to those affected uh, due to the deteriorating condition of the society. The moral downfall of the society has brought into existence a large number of prostitutes or harlots. This is the concern of the poet. This poem is again from Songs of Experience. The poet shows deep concern for the society around him, and it is also indicative of his own experience, his own coming into that group of knowledgeable people who have shown some concern for the society and tries to portray the condition of the society in his own way, in his own manner, in his own subjective manner, which makes it again a blend of classicism and romanticism, which is why we read it as a pre-romantic poet, and we appreciate Blake's contribution to pre-romantic poetry. You see, there is again the pattern of rhyming used by the poet, and in short, crisp lines, he is able to create a beautiful picture, though I won't say a beautiful, a realistic picture of the unhappiness and poverty prevalent in the urban space. London can be any city which is coming up as a metropolis. So read the poem. Here's a detailed, I've offered you a detailed uh, analysis of the poem, and you remember in the first two stanzas how the poet shows his personal concern over this deteriorating condition of society, and then he moves on to three sections of society: the chimney sweepers, the soldiers, and the prostitutes. That is how he describes their personal grief, their condition, and the indifference of the authorities, the indifference of the state to the condition of these kind of people. Go into each line carefully and you offer a critical appreciation of the whole poem, and the words which you should pay attention to are chartered, marks of weakness, marks of woe, and mind forged manacles, the obstacles which are mind forged, which are created by the mind. And of course, the cry of the chimney sweepers and the condition of the soldiers, and why are the harlots or the prostitutes continuously cursing instead of blessing? Why are they cursing society, cursing the institution of marriage? That's the end of the poem. You see, here's another painting, a digital version of the painting and handwritten text by the poet himself. Thank you. Some more poetry. We'll soon move to romantic poetry. That's the end of pre-romantic poetry. I've taken up pre-romantic poetry prescribed for you. James Thomson, then Thomas Gray, William Collins, William Cooper, and finally William Blake.